Have you ever thought about what it takes to make someone really interested in you without feeling like you're being stretched thin and losing yourself? It's like the harder you chase them, the more they back off, making you feel like a puppet just going along with what they want. No matter how much you try to stand out, it seems like you're just pushing them further away. But what if there's a way to bring them closer? What if the secret isn't in chasing after them, but in actually embracing who you are? Totally different vibe, huh? Well, my friends, our wise Stoic gems have some serious insights that can really shake things up. Today, we're diving into how you can tap into this wisdom to totally rewrite your love life and turn yourself into someone who doesn't just follow someone else's lead, but sets the pace they can't ignore. Just think about the rock-solid confidence you'll have when you don't feel the need to prove yourself anymore, when you're not chasing after someone's temporary attention. Imagine being so secure in your own worth that just your presence is enough to pull people in effortlessly. Today, we're diving into a powerful Stoic strategy that completely changes how you think about relationships. This isn't about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about mastering the art of deliberate detachment, where you focus your energy on your own growth and happiness. This investment in yourself becomes a magnet that others can't help but be attracted to. Transform your love life with 10 powerful Stoic habits that will change not only how others view you, but also how you see yourself. As our wise friend Lolly Daskal said, when you stop chasing the wrong things, you give the right things a chance to catch you. This doesn't mean you should just settle or stop looking for meaningful connections. It's not about giving up on your desire for love. It's about realizing your worth and letting the right kind of love come to you naturally. Letting go of the chase and making room for what really belongs in your life to come to you naturally is key. If you try to force someone to be part of your life, you might get them, but it could turn out badly. As the saying goes, you could end up feeling used or just a puppet on a string. So, my friends, when we have that path our wise friends have laid out for us, why not choose the one that values your worth and leads to something better? Real, meaningful connections where you're treated as an equal, not just someone's puppet. So, my friends, are you ready to dive into these life-changing Stoic habits and start living a life where you earn respect, build genuine relationships, and never have to dance to someone else's beat again? But before we jump into these game-changing principles, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. By doing that, you're not just helping out the channel, you're sending a message to YouTube. More people need to see this video to get the help they need in their relationships. By helping others, you're putting good vibes out there, and the universe will return the favor. I've done my part by making this video, so now it's your turn. Go ahead and hit that like button and step up to help others. All right, let's jump into the first tip. Act like you already have what you want. At first glance, this might seem a bit weird, maybe even the opposite of what you'd expect. When you're really into someone, you might wonder how you can act like you already have their attention or love when you obviously don't. But trust me, this idea can really change the game. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be amazed at how effective it can be in attracting others. Let's break down what it means to act as if you already have it. This isn't about faking it or being out of touch with reality. It's about adopting a mindset that radiates confidence. When you carry yourself like you already have what you want, whether it's love, attention, or respect, you naturally give off vibes of someone who's happy, self-reliant, and appealing. Just think about it. People are attracted to those who seem to have their lives in order, not to those who come off as desperate or clingy. When you act like you already have what you're after, you radiate confidence and a chill energy that others can't help but be drawn to. It's not about pretending. It's all about really embracing an abundance mindset. Picture this. You're at a social event and there's someone you really like. Most folks would try hard to impress that person, maybe even go out of their way to get noticed. But what if you walked in acting like you already had their attention? You wouldn't chase them or fawn over them. You'd just enjoy yourself, chat with others, and let your natural charm come through. That laid-back confidence will catch their eye way more than any over-the-top move. Notice that you're different. You're not desperate for their attention because you already feel like you have it. This might sound simple, but it's super important. When you act like you already have their affection, you steer clear of the usual pitfalls of overdoing it or seeming needy. Just think about it. Nothing pushes people away more than desperation. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, "True wealth isn't about having a lot of stuff, but about wanting less." When you want less, especially when it comes to seeking someone's attention, it makes a big difference. When you catch someone's eye, you give off this vibe of being complete that others find super appealing. Let's break this down in different relationship situations. First off, if you're looking to attract someone new, instead of constantly chasing them with texts or trying too hard to impress, act like they're already into you. Focus on being your best self, confident, engaging, and chill. That self-assurance will make you shine because most people are too caught up in trying to win others over. Imagine you're in a relationship where the spark just isn't there like it used to be. You might be putting in a lot of effort to bring that passion back, but nothing seems to click. This is where pretending you already have their love can help. Instead of stressing about the dwindling feelings, try acting like the love is still alive. Be that confident, attractive person you were at the beginning. Get involved in things that make you happy and fulfilled on your own. When they notice you're not desperate, it can change the dynamic. To fix things, focus on being content and confident, which can help reignite their attraction to you. When it comes to an ex, you might want to show off how much you've changed to prove you deserve another shot. But instead of trying too hard, just act like you're thriving without them. Live your life to the fullest, concentrate on your own growth, and don't make them the center of your universe. When they see you happy and successful on your own, it might hit them how much they've lost. Your happiness depends on the quality of your thoughts. If you think and act like you already have what you want, you'll create a strong vibe that attracts others. But how do you make this a habit? It starts with your mindset. Picture yourself as the person who has what you desire. How would you act? How would you talk? How would you carry yourself? Make it a daily practice, whether you're at work, hanging out with friends, or just chilling at home. That's the key. Sticking with it over time will make this way of thinking second nature. You might be thinking, what if it feels weird to act like I have something when I really don't? That's totally normal, especially if you usually look for approval from others. This is where the Stoic idea of detachment comes into play. Let go of the end result and concentrate on the journey of becoming the best version of yourself instead of trying to win someone's love. As you do this, you'll start to feel more confident in yourself. Being confident and acting like you already have what you want gets easier over time. If you ever find it tough, remember what Seneca said. He who is brave is free. Being brave means having the guts to believe in your own worth and acting with confidence, even when you're not sure how things will turn out. It's about letting go of the need for others' approval and tapping into your inner strength. To really make this mindset stick, let's take a moment for an affirmation. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Go ahead and own it. You're already mine. Drop it in the comments and shout it out loud so the universe can feel your unstoppable confidence. Show everyone you're here to claim what's yours, not chasing after it, but attracting what's meant for you. By acting like you already have what you want, you're not just pretending, you're tapping into your true power. You're living as the confident, magnetic person you are, and that's what will naturally draw others to you. So, let's do this. If you've got any questions, a different take, or a personal story, let's chat about it in the comments. Let's take charge and build an awesome community together. And if everything's clear, give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet, and don't forget to smash that like button. This is just the start. There are 9 more game-changing principles to cover, so stick around. Today's the day you take control, embrace your power, and start transforming your life. Relationships like never before. Number 2, become unpredictably unavailable. So let's talk about our second habit, being unpredictably unavailable. I know this might sound a bit odd at first. I mean, if you really like someone, shouldn't you be there for them all the time? Shouldn't you be easy to reach to show how much you care? But here's the thing, always being available can actually work against you. It's like serving a fancy meal every single day. Eventually, people start taking it for granted. Sure, but when you suddenly become hard to reach, it adds a bit of mystery that makes people want to be around you more. Let's unpack that. When you're always available, it's easy for the other person to think you'll always be there. They might start to take your time, attention, and even love for granted. But when you switch things up and aren't always at their beck and call, they start to notice when you're not around. They say that when you're not around, people start to appreciate you more. By being a bit unpredictable and not always available, you're letting them feel your absence, making them realize how much they actually miss you. Picture this. You're in a relationship where you're always the one reaching out, planning dates, and making sure everything goes well. After a while, it becomes routine, and your partner starts to take it for granted, not really recognizing the effort you put in. So, what if you decided to switch things up? Don't reply to every text right away, and don't always be the one to make plans. Take a few days and let them reach out to you instead. Suddenly, they'll start wondering, why haven't I heard from them? What are they up to? This curiosity can change how they see you. They'll realize your time and attention aren't a given, and that makes them appreciate it more. This isn't about playing mind games or being manipulative. It's about finding a healthy balance where your presence is valued, not taken for granted. They say people only appreciate what they can't have. By being unpredictably unavailable, you make them see that your attention is something special, something they need to earn and value. Let's look at a few situations. If you're trying to attract someone new, being unpredictably unavailable can really make you stand out. Most people are quick to reply to messages, always eager to make plans and please others. But when you're not always around, it creates a bit of mystery. They start. You might find yourself wondering what your partner's up to, who they're hanging out with, and why you're not always chasing after them. There's that saying, mystery is the most powerful aphrodisiac, and it really can be super enticing. But what if you're in a long-term relationship where everything feels like a routine? Maybe the thrill isn't there like it used to be, and you're both just going through the motions. In that case, being a little unpredictably unavailable can really help reignite that spark. When you're not always around, it makes your partner think about how much you mean to them. I'm starting to really miss you and crave having you around. I appreciate you even more when you're here. Like Khalil Gibran said, we should have some space in our togetherness, letting the winds of life flow between us. It's in those spaces that love can breathe and get stronger. Even if you're dealing with an ex, this approach can work wonders after a breakup. It's totally normal to want to keep in touch to show how much you've changed or to reminisce about the good times, but being a bit unpredictably unavailable sends a different vibe. It shows that you're not just sitting around waiting for them. You're out there living life to the fullest and feeling good about yourself without them. This might make them rethink their choice to leave when they see you thriving and possibly moving on. As Oscar Wilde famously said, "The mystery of love is greater than the mystery of death." By creating that kind of mystery, you encourage them to see you in a new and more interesting way. But how do you become unpredictably unavailable without seeming like you don't care or being cold? The trick is balance. You don't want to just vanish. Totally ignore the other person sometimes so they think you're not into them, but really, it's about being picky with your time. Respond right away sometimes, but other times, take your time. Plan things occasionally, but let them reach out too. The goal is to keep things a bit unpredictable. Nothing confusing or frustrating, just enough to keep it interesting and to stay independent. You might be thinking, isn't this just playing hard to get? But it's not about playing games. It's all about keeping your self-respect and making sure your time and attention are valued. Like the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." That means building meaningful relationships takes time and a balance of give and take. When you become a bit unpredictable or unavailable, it's not about holding back love or attention. It's just making sure it's appreciated and respected. But I get it. It can be tough to be less available, especially if you're used to always being there for others. It can be tough to take a step back, especially if you're worried about losing the other person's interest. But keep in mind that the goal isn't to push them away. It's to build a healthy relationship where both of you value each other's time. Start with small things, like waiting a bit to reply to a text or letting them take the lead in planning a date. Over time, you'll find a balance that lets you keep your independence while still forming a strong connection. As we finish up this point, let's think about what Marcus said. Aurelius, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. This is all about being real in how you connect with others. By being unpredictably unavailable, you're not messing around. You're making sure people respect and value your presence. So, my friends, adopt this mindset and see how it changes your relationships, making you not just wanted, but unforgettable. Now take a moment, close your eyes, and say to yourself, "I am the prize." Let that remind you of your unpredictability and your worth. Power you have in every interaction. So, let's dive into our third habit. Live by your principles, not by what others think. Now, this might seem obvious, but when you really like someone, it's easy to start bending your values just to get their approval. You might catch yourself agreeing to things you wouldn't usually go for or compromising on what you believe, all in the hopes of winning them over. But trust me, there's nothing more attractive. Being someone who sticks to their principles, no matter what others think, is powerful. When you live by your values, you're showing the world and that special someone that you know who you are and what you believe in. You're not easily influenced by outside opinions or the urge to fit in. This kind of self-confidence is really attractive because it shows you don't need anyone's approval to feel good about yourself. As the author Roy T. Bennett said, "Do what is right, not what is easy or popular." That quote really hits home. Living by your principles is what it's all about. Picture this. You're dating someone new and they suggest doing something that doesn't sit right with you. Maybe it's something minor, like skipping a family gathering, or something major, like compromising your beliefs. You might feel tempted to just go along with it to keep them happy. But what if you took a different approach? What if you calmly but firmly said, "Hey, my values mean a lot to me. I appreciate your suggestion, but I can't go against what I believe in." People might be surprised at first, but if you stick to your beliefs, they'll end up respecting you. They'll see you as someone with integrity, someone who doesn't back down on what's really important. Living by your principles isn't just for the big decisions. It's about those small, everyday choices too. It's about being consistent in what you do, whether anyone's watching or not. When you keep acting according to your values, you build trust, not just with others, but with yourself. And trust is the foundation of any solid relationship. Think about relationships like this. The philosopher Lao Tzu said that if you can conquer others, you're strong, but if you can conquer yourself, you're truly powerful. When you stop needing approval from others and just be yourself, you become impressive to those around you. Now, let's say you're in a relationship that's kind of lost its excitement. You might feel like you're always trying to make your partner happy, even if it makes you unhappy. This is where sticking to your own values can help bring back that spark. Instead of chasing their approval, shift your focus. Focus on what you think is best for you and start making choices based on your own values. Show your partner that you're strong and independent. This change can shift the dynamic in your relationship, making you come across as someone with depth and integrity, not just someone who goes along with whatever is thrown your way. Even when dealing with an ex, sticking to your principles can really make an impact. It's easy to want to prove you've changed and that you're ready to do anything to win them back. Instead of bending your values, show them that you've gotten stronger in sticking to them. Let them see you're not looking for their approval. You're living your life based on what you believe is right. That kind of strength and self-respect is really appealing and might make them reconsider what they lost. But how do you stay true to your principles when it's tough, especially when you crave someone's approval? It's all about practice. Start by figuring out what your core values are and what really matters to you. Stand firm on your principles. Once you know what they are, promise yourself to stick to them no matter what. It won't always be a walk in the park, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. Remember, the aim isn't to win everyone over, but to earn respect for being your authentic self. As we finish up, let's think about Steve Maraboli's words. Live your truth, show your love, share your excitement, chase your dreams, practice what you preach, and enjoy your life. Appreciate your blessings. Today's all about embracing who you really are and letting that show in every interaction. So, close your eyes for a sec and take a moment to affirm, "I stand firm." Let this reminder bring to mind your strength, your integrity, and the power you have when you stick to your principles. Now, let's jump into our fourth habit. Always be the last to speak. It might seem like an easy tip, but don't underestimate it. This habit can be super powerful. In relationships, whether you're looking to attract someone new, revive an old romance, or keep the spark alive in a long-term partnership, being the last one to speak can really work to your advantage. When you make a real effort to listen before you respond, you show a level of patience and respect that's pretty rare and valuable. A lot of people feel like they need to jump in and fill the silence or get their point across first. But when you hold back and truly listen, you give the other person the space to express themselves. This not only shows that you care about what they think, but it also helps you really get what they mean. As Stephen Covey said, a lot of people don't listen to understand. They listen just to respond. If you let them speak first, you break that pattern and open up a real connection. Picture this. You're on a date, and the chat shifts to something you're passionate about. It's super tempting to jump in with your thoughts right away, but what if you just paused and let the other person finish what they're saying completely. Nod, make eye contact, and show that you're really interested in their thoughts. Once they're done, take a moment to think before you respond. This shows you're thoughtful and not just waiting for your turn to talk. It makes you stand out because it shows maturity and confidence. This habit is really helpful, especially when emotions are high. If you're having a disagreement with your partner, instead of jumping in right away and making things worse, let them talk first. Really listen without cutting them off. By the time it's your turn to respond, you've had a chance to think about what they said, so you can answer calmly and thoughtfully. This way, it can help ease the tension and lead to a better conversation. Like they say, silence is golden, and in this case, it's also a smart move, even if it's an ex trying to get a rise out of you. Being the last to chime in can really give you an edge. People might think you'll react emotionally, but when you take your time, it shows you're in control of your feelings. This calmness can make them view you differently, as someone who's not easily shaken and who values meaningful conversations. So, how do you make this a habit? It's all about practice and being mindful. Start by intentionally letting others finish their thoughts before you jump in during your daily chats. It might feel a bit weird at first, especially if you're used to talking more, but over time, it'll start to feel like a natural way to communicate. The benefits are totally worth it. Not only will you become a better listener, but you'll notice that people are more attracted to you because of the respect and attention you give them. As we finish up this point, let's think about what the Buddha said. Better than 1,000 empty words is one word that brings peace. It's all about picking your words wisely. Take a moment to close your eyes and say to yourself, I listen first. Remember how powerful listening is and how strong it can make you when you let others speak before you. Now, let's dive into our fifth habit. Stop trying to control conversations. I know when you really like someone, you want to guide the chat to show yourself in a good light or make sure things go your way. You might want to control the conversation, but here's the deal. It usually backfires. It can seem manipulative or insecure, and it messes up the natural flow that makes chats interesting. When you stop trying to control things, you open the door for real connections. You're not pushing an agenda or trying to guess how things will go. Instead, you're just being present and letting the conversation flow naturally. This shows that you have confidence and trust in yourself and in the other person. As the author Stephen Covey once said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. When you listen more and control less, you create an environment where the other person feels truly heard and appreciated. Picture this. You're on a date and you really want to make a good impression. It's easy to steer the conversation toward things you know well or to show off your best traits. But what if, instead, you just focused on being genuinely curious about the other person? Ask open-ended questions and really listen. Listen closely to what they're saying and let the conversation go where it wants. This way, you take the pressure off yourself and make the other person feel valued and appreciated. They'll probably feel a real connection with you because you're not trying to steer the conversation. You're just enjoying the chat. This also works for long-term relationships. If you're always trying to control the story, your partner might feel like their voice isn't being heard or that their opinions don't matter. By letting go of that need to control things, you create a healthier vibe where everyone feels respected and valued. As Bruce Lee wisely said, be like water, my friend. When you're flexible and open in conversations, it creates a natural flow that deepens your connection with others. So, my friends, stop trying to control the conversation and see how your relationships change. When you let go and just enjoy the moment, you'll find that the connections you make are way more genuine. Let's chat about our sixth habit: embrace independence. I know it might seem like a contradiction when you're trying to connect with someone, but the truth is, nothing's more appealing than a person who's confident and self-sufficient. When you embrace your independence, you show that you don't depend on anyone else for your happiness or fulfillment, and that's super empowering. Independence doesn't mean pushing people away or isolating yourself. It's all about knowing your own value and not relying on someone else to feel good about yourself. It's having your own interests, goals, and life outside of the relationship. Like Wayne Dyer said, you can't be lonely if you enjoy your own company. When you love being with yourself, people are naturally attracted to that confidence. Picture this: you're in a relationship, and instead of just waiting for your partner to make plans, you take the initiative. Instead of just depending on others to fill your time, start diving into your own interests. Maybe it's a hobby you've ignored for a while, or a new project you're really into. When you're pumped about your own life, that excitement is infectious. Your partner will notice you as someone lively, involved, and interesting. Someone who adds something special to the mix. This goes for attracting someone new too. Being independent can really make you shine. Most people are drawn to those who have their own lives and aren't just coasting along. Just hanging out, waiting for someone to come along while you're off living your best life makes you way more interesting and attractive. People will want to be in your world because they see you don't need them to feel complete. You're already good on your own. But being independent isn't always a walk in the park, especially if you're used to leaning on others. Start small, set little goals for yourself, like spending more time solo, picking up a new hobby, or just making your own choices. Don't worry about getting approval. The more you practice, the more natural it'll feel. As we wrap up this habit, let's think about what Aristotle said. Happiness depends on us. Take a moment to remind yourself, I shine on my own. Let that thought remind you that your strength and happiness come from within, and embracing your independence is crucial for forming strong, healthy connections with others. Now, let's dive into the idea of detaching from outcomes. It might sound a little strange, but hear me out. Isn't the whole point of chasing someone to get their love or attention? But here's the catch. When you get too fixated on a specific outcome, you start to lose yourself. You might catch yourself overthinking every little interaction, stressing about how they'll react, and pouring all your energy into trying to control things. But when you let go of that need for a certain outcome, you actually relieve yourself of that pressure. And funny enough, that's when you become the most attractive. Just think about it. You just had an awesome date, and instead of stressing about whether they'll call you back, you just let it be. You enjoyed the moment for what it was and aren't hung up on what happens next. This kind of chill attitude shows confidence. It lets the other person know that while you're into them, you're not desperate. Like the Buddha said, attachment is the root of suffering. By letting go of the need to control what happens next, you not only ease your stress, but also become more relaxed, present, and ultimately happier. Not getting too attached to outcomes doesn't mean you don't care. It just means you're not letting the results control your happiness. You're all about being the best version of yourself and trusting that what's meant to happen will happen. This change in mindset can be super powerful, not just in relationships, but in every part of life. So, take a moment, close your eyes, and say to yourself, I trust the process. Let that remind you that by letting go of the outcomes, you're going with the flow of life. What's meant for you will find you naturally. Now let's jump into our next habit, practicing negative visualization. I know this might sound a bit dark at first. Like, why would you want to think about bad outcomes? But trust me, this Stoic practice is one of the most powerful ways to toughen up your mind and focus on what really matters. Negative visualization is all about imagining the worst-case scenarios, not to get stuck on them, but to get yourself mentally ready. When you think about losing someone or something important, it's not about giving up hope. It's about building gratitude and resilience. You start to really appreciate what you have and get stronger when faced with the idea of losing it. Picture this. You're really into someone, but instead of fixating on what might go wrong, you let yourself imagine life without them. How would you handle it? What would you do? By confronting these thoughts directly, you lessen the fear of losing them and start to detach a bit. This idea of detachment is really appealing because it shows you're not hanging on to the relationship out of fear. You're in it because you genuinely appreciate it. As Seneca wisely said, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." By practicing negative visualization, you're gearing yourself up for whatever might happen, and in that, you find peace and confidence right now. So, close your eyes for a sec and remind yourself, I'm ready for anything. Let that affirmation sink in. You're strong, tough, and can handle whatever life throws at you. Number 9, smile during tough times. So, let's chat about a habit that might catch you off guard at first. Smiling when things get rough. I know you're probably wondering how smiling when everything's falling apart can actually help. But here's the deal. Smiling in hard times isn't about faking it or pretending everything's okay. It's about keeping your cool and showing that you're resilient no matter what life hits you with. When you smile. When things get tough, it's not just about convincing others you're fine. It's also about reminding yourself that you've got the strength to push through. Just doing this can change your mindset from feeling defeated to feeling determined. Like writer and philosopher Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Sometimes your happiness makes you smile, but other times just smiling can actually bring you happiness." Picture this. You're stuck in a tough spot. Maybe having a disagreement with your partner or dealing with a stressful day at work. When you hit an unexpected bump in the road, instead of letting the stress take over, just take a deep breath and smile. That little move can help ease the tension, show everyone you're not easily rattled, and remind you that you're in charge of how you react. Smiling in tough times doesn't mean you're ignoring your feelings. It's about picking how you respond to them. It's a way to show your inner strength and resilience. So, the next time something challenges you, just remember to smile, because that smile shows what you're made of. Unbreakable spirit, close your eyes and say to yourself, I am unshakable. Let this reminder help you realize that no matter what life throws at you, you've got the strength to handle it with grace and confidence. Now, let's get into our last habit. Be patient. I get it. Patience isn't the most thrilling word, especially when you're itching to see results in your relationships, but believe me, patience is one of the strongest tools in your toolbox. It's all about knowing that good things take time and that rushing things usually doesn't help. Being patient just means you're not going to get let down. It shows you've got confidence and can keep your cool. When you're patient, you're letting others know you're not desperate for something right now. You don't need instant satisfaction to feel okay. You trust that things will work out when they're supposed to. You know the saying, good things come to those who wait. Picture this. You're into someone, but they're not getting back to you as fast as you want. The urge is to rush things, but what if just let things happen naturally? By being patient, you let the relationship grow at its own speed, which usually leads to a stronger, more real connection. They'll appreciate that you're not pushing them, and this chill vibe can make them more attracted to you. In a long-term relationship, patience is super important. Not every problem needs an instant fix, and not every argument has to be settled right away. By being patient, you give both yourself and your partner some breathing room. Let's take a moment to come together and really think about this. As we wrap things up, remember what Lao Tzu said. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything gets done. Close your eyes and say to yourself, I trust the timing. Let this remind you that patience isn't just a nice quality, it's a real strength. So that's it for today's video, but before you go, I want to share something powerful. If you're still with me, it shows you're serious about taking charge of your life and your relationships. So, let me know you're in. By dropping this affirmation in the comments, I'm claiming that I'll win. Go ahead and shout it out loud and clear. Let the universe know you're ready.